Oh, man. Big
Yeah. About 30 minutes apiece, something like that. But I got my hit list ready over here, Coach. Yeah. All right, man. You got to tell me about the Central tenure, because correct me if I'm wrong, you were over there for 11 or 12 years in total.
I was there 12 years total, 10 years as a head coach.
10 years as a head coach. Man, I think that's big because, like, the mainstays, it's not quite like it used to be once upon a time. Like, I know coaching is sort of an unforgiving career anyway, so you got to always kind of be ready to pivot. But how was it to, like, plant your seeds there and be there for 10 years? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Well, yeah, what's crazy is I did. Because I told my dad when I got the job, I said, Daddy, man, I want to be there 10 years, and I want to win a state championship after 5. And I was able to do both. And, they say speak it into existence. Well,
manifest it.
That's kind of what happened. And so I didn't want to go. I didn't want to be the coach that jumped around. And so that's why I said, I want to be here at least 10.
Damn. Now, did it go fast to you, or did it feel like 10?
No, it didn't feel like 10. It didn't feel like 10. It felt like, after the 10th year, it felt like 5 had went by. Because early on, we were just having so much fun and so much work. And I had to learn to take breaks because we were there every single day, 7 days a week, 2-3 hours a day.
No time off.
I remember in February, one of my players said to me, he said, Coach, we going to get a break? And I looked at him and I got mad. I said, break? We don't need no break. We're trying to win a championship.
Right.
But I had to realize that I was wearing them down. And I had to look at that because I love being in the gym.
Right.
That was my piece right there. And so, but that's what made the 10 years go by so quick.
Did you have players that sort of had that same drive and work ethic as you during that time?
Yeah, but you don't get a lot of those.
Right.
You don't get.
It's
hard to get the player that wants it more than you.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a few that during my time at Central that wanted it just as much as I did, and that's why we had some success, because you'd have maybe 2 on a team, and they, hey, rest of y'all, come on, we're getting in this gym, we finna get in here and work, and it just uplifted everybody else. But that's rare. That's not an everyday thing.
And that was outside of practice then, right?
Right.
Outside of when it's mandatory. That's a win right there.
Right.
Now see, your beginning was sort of, it was sort of different, but it seemed like the transition was smooth, right? Because as an assistant, I remember when you were there under Coach Cudjoe, right? One of the many Cudjoes that we know of. And I think you were, at least on paper, as the assistant coach, but you were standing and you had the sideline personality to where I'm like, this seems like the guy right here.
Yeah.
So how did that come about, and then the transition from that seat over one seat?
Well, it's funny.
Yeah.
Well, Coach Cudjoe was a quiet guy.
Right.
Shout out to Coach Cudjoe because he was a really good guy. Like, we still talk to this day.
Yeah.
It was Kyle Cudjoe.
Kyle Cudjoe.
And he was going through some things at home, and so it was just like he was not focused on really being in tune with that. And you could understand and you could sympathize with him for that. And so I just took it upon myself to just kind of really step in and do more.
Yeah.
And so that's how it became where I was standing up and, running practices. And it wasn't me trying to take his job. I was just trying to pick up the slack.
Right. Now, did he give you instructions like, hey, I'm going to need you to do X, Y, Z, or did you just see, okay, this is a void that needs to be filled, I'm just going to fill it?
No, it was a void that I saw, and I was like, I gotta step in. Because we had some talent, Corey Frazier and those guys, and we had some talent, but we just wasn't pushing them hard enough. And so I tried to step in there the best I could from an assistant standpoint and push them.
Man, that's a tricky one when you got talent and it's like how far or how hard do we need to push them, or how much do we need to lighten up? Because I've had groups, like I'm sure you've had groups, where less is more. You know what I mean? How do you? What are some of the things that you're looking at that tells you which approach you need to take?
Well, I think in the summer you can kind of tell how far you can push them.
Okay.
When you're conditioning and you're lifting and you're, working on skill development, stuff like that, you can kind of see how far you can push them when you got to correct them with something.
Right.
You can see who kind of can't take the chewing, and you can see the ones who can. And so you figure out who you can chew on and who you can kind of have to be a little bit lighter with.
Right.
And that's how I build my template of how far can I get into this team.
Right.
And usually in the spring and in the summer is when I kind of build that. And it's different every year.
Yeah.
It's different every year.
With you being one of those just grind guys, let's hit the gas. At any point in your career as a head coach, maybe even currently, had you or do you still have any issues delegating responsibilities? Because you seem like you want to be hands-on with every department of your program.
Yeah, I still don't know how to delegate.
I get it though. I think all good leaders are control freaky to some degree.
It's just, my thing is this. I got a couple things. If I ask you to do it and you don't do it right, or you just, I read body language really well. If you give me any inclination that you like, why is he asking me to do this? Mm-hmm. I don't want to ask you to do anything anymore because I don't feel like having that argument with you. Mm-hmm. So I just do it myself. Or you do it and you do it.
Right.
It's like, okay, I just do it myself.
Yeah.
You know, I still wash clothes. I still do all that. Mm-hmm. Now, I got a great assistant and other great assistants, but Eric Gill, who's my assistant, is phenomenal. Like, right. I mean, we aren't where we are without him. As well as my strength guy, my strength and conditioning guy, who also serves as an assistant, and George Rodriguez. I mean, he's phenomenal. Pre-game stuff, all that. And then Kevin Williams is really taking care of my junior high and getting them prepared and bringing some of those kids, taking the philosophies that we have up here and taking it to Carver and getting those kids ready for when they come here. And so it takes a group effort. But the good thing about these guys, the reason why I don't have to delegate as much is because they already know what's needed and they go ahead and do it. Those are the best assistants to have.
Taking initiative.
Yeah, taking initiative. And you, when you have good assistants, I mean, that really changes things. You know, I've always had good assistants. You know, Matt Watson last year was a great assistant. He's now at Webster as the head coach out there.
Yeah, first year.
Clarence Glover was a really good assistant for me too. For many years while I was at Central, came over here with me, and now he's the head coach at Edison Girls. And so I've always had good assistants. My uncle, Levi, who was 18 years here at Booker T.
Yes, sir.
Spent 8 with me at Central, was with me when we won state. And so I've always had good assistants. And, man, I believe in that. I believe in your assistants being one of your top priorities. It's almost as important as having good talent.
Yeah. I mean, back to that laundry point, for some reason, and this is just me, in a weird way, that's my therapy right there. Leave those uniforms alone. I want to wash them. Yeah. I want to dry them. I want to hang them up. That's my piece.
And man, I don't know if it's that for me, but also I get to count them and make sure they all there.
And they'll grow legs on you if you ain't careful.
Them shorts will take off on you.
Yeah, they always leave the top, but they'll run out of there with the bottoms.
Yeah, they'll take the shorts.
Slick. Now take me to the state championship year. That was the 2014-15 campaign at Central, right? Mm-hmm. I think that there's a moment in time in every season where, you know, coaches can tell, okay, we are about to turn a corner, or we just had a moment that lets me know we've turned that corner.
Right.
What point in that season did you know, hey man, this team can go win the daggone thing?
I go back even further. So my first 2 years we go to state. Mm-hmm. We were in 5A. We go to state. It was like 25-5 and stuff like that. So my third and fourth year we miss out on state in the area championship game. Yeah. We're in 4A now. Right. 4A is a little different in the style of play and things like that. Well, those back-to-back state years, we had seniors and they were hungry. They played AAU ball. They were together. Mm-hmm. Well, those 2 years after that, those kids were a little bit not together, and they were tougher to coach, and you know they were more one-on-one, wanting to play one-on-one type basketball, and so our team suffered. And towards the end of that 2013-14 year, I sat some seniors down and started some sophomores and juniors. And, I mean, it changed everything. Mm-hmm. That spring and summer is when I could tell you that's when I knew we had a chance to win it. Because we were getting our gym lights redone and the ceiling and some more stuff. And so we had to go to what used to be Madison to work out in the summers. We couldn't go to Central at all for that whole summer.
Not even the back gym.
The matter of fact, the whole entire school was shut down. They were redoing a whole bunch of stuff in the building.
Right.
So we're at Madison, and if you ever been to Madison, they got these small gyms, tiny. There's hardly any out of bounds.
Yeah, that's the wall.
The court is smaller. It's not even a legitimate 84-foot court, and it hadn't been refinished or nothing. Ooh. There was sand dust on the floor from them sanding different wooden things and stuff. we got in there the first day in the spring and just I swept it and it was slick, and the boys never missed a day. They never missed a day. We'd run outside on the field out there because we couldn't go to Central, and we'd work out in the gym. And most of the time we only had a half of a court, and so they never missed a day. And they came every single day in the summer, in the spring, and they worked their tails off. And we got into summer league, and I think we didn't lose a game, but each game we probably won by like 15 plus.
Oh wow!
Yeah, all summer.
So you telling me 100% attendance, 100% of the summer activities?
Then that's when I knew my
right
top 10 was showing up every single day, and I knew then. I said we got a chance. And the year before, there was a kid named Elijah Landrum who came in 14, and we were having a good year that year. He was a freshman. Mm-hmm. He got hurt against Rogers. He got undercut against Rogers right before playoffs started. He didn't get to play none of the playoffs. So that I stand on the merit that we would have went to state all 4 of his years if he wouldn't have got hurt his freshman year. He was our leading scorer
as a young
freshman.
bull.
16 points a game as a freshman. He was good, man. And so we didn't have him that freshman year at the end in playoffs, and I think we would have went in and maybe could have made some noise. But when you lose your best player, it was tough. Mm-hmm. But again, in the spring and summer, we had everybody.
Now, did you have any dual sport athletes in that top 10? Any of them football guys, or they was basketball only?
That's a good question. No, I think they were all basketball.
Man, I'm not knocking the 2 and 3 sport athletes at all, because I love kids that compete year round. But I think your core, ideally, I'd like to have them in basketball in the fall. You know what I mean? And of course, you need some of those football guys. Bring that edge in here. Bring that physicality in here.
My top 10 might have been all basketball.
That's a blessing though. If what you about to tell me is true.
I believe that's the case. My top 10 that I would play was all in basketball.
Man.
So having them all spring and all summer, like I said, they were all there.
Right.
And I made them run track.
There you go.
Made them run track, and they hated me for it, but it helped them. Mm-hmm. We had a great track coach at the time, and it was like it was eye opening for them because their bodies grew and got stronger in ways that they didn't imagine or couldn't imagine. And I mean, and plus those kids were close, man. They were close, and so I could tell when that summer I said we got a chance to do something special here.
See, and when you got a group that don't mind sacrificing, they want to do it for each other. Mm-hmm. That's a win.
Oh yeah.
Now y'all beat McLean in the state finals that year, right? Mm-hmm. Yo, how did you feel anything different or special about that particular matchup being the case? Not to say that there's some Central McLean rivalry, but we representing for the east side of the state, for the city of Tulsa, North Tulsa to be specific, Tulsa, and you know how different the opinions of our kids are and our institutions over here. Man, what was that like? Yo, we've been meeting a conference opponent and one of us bringing it back to the crib. What was that like?
Well, first of all, going into that game with the understanding that we were going to play McLean that night, that next day, it was like you had the feeling of, man, I know it was not what everybody expected. Mm-hmm. You know, for the 2 north side schools of Tulsa to be playing for a state championship, and one of us is going to bring it home. And so I knew that was special in itself right there. And then playing Central and McLean playing together against each other was always, at that point, a big rivalry.
See?
And, you know, we had some battles with McLean.
Yeah, I bet y'all played at least twice that year in the conference.
Well, yeah. And then we played them in I want to say area that year, too.
Damn.
That was the area championship. Out at Sapulpa, I believe that's where it was. And we beat them then, and we was playing them again for the state championship. And so as soon as I saw that we were playing them, it's like, man, it's hard to beat a team that many times in one year.
It is. Especially if they any good, which they
and they were good. I mean, I believe Josh Jacobs was on that team.
See,
he was in the NFL.
The legend.
I mean, it was, and Coach Love always had them boys ready to go and working hard, and it was a different. You had to bring something different when you played McLean. You had to bring something different when you played McLean. So playing them and beating them was special because it was a rivalry from that standpoint, being in the north side of Tulsa, and just being able to beat someone that you know really wants to get you.
Mm-hmm.
Really wants to get you.
So now when it's over with, this is real satisfactory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now once y'all won it, how was the morale of the guys that didn't graduate that year, and in terms of what their hunger level was or wasn't going into the spring? Because I think you got more than one way to look at it. On one hand, you would think that, I remember Kobe said this, when you get that taste of success on that level, it doesn't turn it off, it turns it up. It turns the appetite
absolutely.
up. Or on the flip side, we've seen it because we're in the kid business, they get full on you. You know what I mean? So how did it work for you rolling into the 15-16 campaign?
They turned it up. Because over the summer, we had another good spring and summer.
Right.
Kids showing up, wanting to get that ring again.
Yeah.
And I remember our first game was going to be Webster at home.
Okay.
And I'm like, man, Webster was stacked.
Right.
They had size, David Ward. They had a team that was like, man, it's going to be a tough win for us. You know? If we get this one, it's going to be tough.
We're going to earn this one.
And we worked so hard leading up. I mean, I started working on Webster during the summer.
Really? So you had that foresight.
So that summer, everything we did was to try to beat Webster. Mm-hmm. And they were bigger than us, so we were working on jump stops, and we were working on jumping into the numbers, and we were working on floaters, and we were working on our mentality of being the tougher team. And we come to play, and it's packed.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were the first game out or whatever, but it's packed. You know, Central Webster's packed. It's hot in there. And we come in there.
Was that home or away?
It was home. It was at Central.
Ain't nothing like that.
It was packed in there, man. And we come out and set the tone early. They followed the game plan to a T. It was we wanted to get David Ward in foul trouble because we knew he was the catalyst for that team. Mm-hmm. And we did that. You know, he picked up 2 quick fouls trying to block shots, and we knew that that's part one. And it got a little chippy right going into halftime. And then in the third, I called a play where a lob play. Mm-hmm. And we connected on that lob play, and it was over from there.
Yeah, the bleeding started.
My senior, Mike Harris, I think he had 45 that night.
Was it a good 45?
Oh, it was a good 45.
Okay.
It wasn't no selfish 45.
Yeah, you already know what I meant.
Yeah, his teammates was trying to get him the ball to get more, and, you know, his coach sadly took him out early. You know, his dumb coach took him out early.
Oh,
didn't let him get the 50.
No.
He didn't see it like that. I mean, I wanted him to have an ovation and people to celebrate his 45 that night.
I get that.
And I think we won by like 30, 40 points. And then the next night, we played Rogers at Rogers. And
y'all opened the season up with a back-to-back?
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
And then, no, it wasn't a back-to-back. It was like maybe Tuesday, Friday.
Tuesday. I got you, Tuesday, Friday.
And so we go to Rogers and play, and Elijah Landrum has 49.
Now, I do remember that one.
Yeah.
I do remember hearing that and seeing that from a distance. Like,
yeah.
This Landrum game will be pretty good.
Yeah, he had a monster dunk down the lane in that game. And so we knew then, we was like, oh, yeah, we finna take off running. I think, you know, the year before we had won like 10 or 11 in a row before we lost. And then the next year, we had probably won about 8 or 9 before we lost. And so it was just, but it was some of those, Elijah was left over, Mike Harris was left over, Dale Hall was left over, and some more guys. And so we just kept going. We ended up going to state again, but we lost in the first round to Ada. And Ada had a great game plan, man. They just didn't guard one of my kids. They left a 6'5" kid in the middle of the paint. They just didn't
beat us.
They just beat us. This kid didn't want to shoot the ball, and he knew he didn't want to shoot the ball, and they put the 6'5" on him and said, you stay right there in the paint. And I'm like, man. I think we ended up losing that game at Deer Creek by like 18.
Oh,
yeah,
one of those.
Yeah, and we were probably the 1 or 2 ranked team, or maybe 3rd in 4A at that time.
Right.
And I'm like, man.
Yeah. But see, that's why I laugh whenever I hear like a casual fan or somebody they don't know much about this business. They'll see a good talented team and they'll say, man, y'all should have won. Man, y'all should have won by 2 or 3 of those. I'm like, oh, really? It's that easy, huh?
It's hard to even get there.
Come on,
let alone win it.
Come on now.
That's why the people like Nate Harris and of the world, and 10?
Wowzers.
10?
That ain't nothing to sneeze at all, man.
Whew, even if you got talent, it's still hard to win 10.
That's right. To me, you know, talent just breeds a different challenge in terms of what battles do you want to fight.
Right.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. Now you got egos.
Yeah.
Now you got to keep everybody. You got to make everybody feel important to some degree, and then or you can have some clowns that can't play. You can deal with that battle. They do everything you want, show up every day, but their ceiling is right here.
It's right there, and so that's what makes guys like him and Franklin from Millwood so special to have all those championships, man, and you just take your hats off to guys like that. Give me a portion of it.
Yeah. Speaking of that, that's a nice segue, Coach. Now, you're over here in season number 2 at your alma mater, over here at Booker T. Washington High School. All right? And you got hired in 2020, am I right? Just talk about everything that went into that. Your first inclination that this was even a possibility, how special this place is to you, the significance of the position that you now hold, and how difficult it was to leave Central and take this one, or was it a no-brainer? Tell me all that, man.
Well, I think, first of all, I thank the people who saw something in me to hire me. It's always good to be able to go back home, but it's also hard to go back home because people expect more out of you. But nobody can expect more from me in this job than I do. I want to win a championship every year. Is that realistic? No, because we already lost last year. We didn't even come close last year.
Right.
So when the job came open in 2020, that was the pandemic year, and they should have went back-to-back as champions. Coach Phipps, he did a great job while he was here. Just a solid coach, and we still talk to this day. He helps me out still. Him and Coach Branch, they both help me out, and so. When it came open, I knew I was intrigued by it.
Right.
And I wanted to hear more and find out the ins and outs of what's going on over here. And I talked to some people, and they gave me some ins and outs, and Coach Phipps was gracious to speak with me. And after talking to those people, I was like, yeah, I think I want to apply. And it was a hard decision. People always think that it's easy to go to a place like this when they feel like this is better than the place you left, which I don't see it that way. It was tough because I was 12 years at Central. And I had grown accustomed to going to Central every morning. Even right now when I talk about Booker T, I have to slow down because I might say Booker T.
Yeah.
Because I'm still saying Central in my mind. And Central was a special place because obviously we won a state championship there, but I got connected with so many good people that I worked in the building with. My principal was awesome. I had a lot of great principals, by the way.
How many did you go through? So you said a lot.
4.
Wow.
4. Dr. Johnson, Ebony Johnson, she was special. Dr. Wallace, who hired me, was a really good and influential man in my life and still is. And Mr. Gilly who's there now still, showed me some things about relationships when it comes to students and athletes that really helped me as a coach and a man, as a teacher as well. And so they really were influential in my career. And I always tell people, if you don't have good administrators, it can make your life a nightmare as a coach. And I work for a good administrator here in Dr. Woolridge, so I've been blessed to have great administrators who let me do my job but also support me when I need help. But leaving Central was tough. It was tough because I had a relationship with the kids and the community over there, and we had done so much while I was there, and it was hard to walk away. But going back home was something that I wanted to do when I was just started as a coach, and to be over here. I used to come to watch Booker T games as a young coach and with a notepad and sit behind Coach Harris right behind the bench and just try to take notes on anything he might be saying, just so I can learn and get better. And so to be where he was is just, I don't take it lightly. But when I got the call that I got the job, I'll never forget it, man. I was going to get some lunch. I don't know if my son was with me or not, but I was going to get some lunch. And he called me, and when he called me, he asked me what I was doing. I said, Gil Cloud did. I said, man, I'm about to give me something to eat. And he said, well, before you eat, I want to tell you we want to offer you the job at Booker T, man. And I was elated and happy about it, but at the same time, I was sad because
bittersweet. I
had to make a decision on leaving Central. And I said, well, can you give me a couple days to think about it? And he was kind of shocked, like, I thought you wanted to come right now. And I'm like, I need a couple days, man. I gotta, he's like, yeah, I'll give you a couple days. And so talked to my wife and my dad and my uncle. And it was like, okay, you got to take this leap.
Yeah.
You need to take this leap. And it was just hard. It was hard to leave Central, though, man. I'm thinking about it now, like, It was hard because no matter what decision you make, you letting some people down.
Yeah.
And
that's a ballsy move, though, Coach. By saying what you said to Mr. Cloud, like, hold on, how long do I have? Basically, how long do I have to make this decision? Can I take a couple of days? You know what I mean? Because to some people that could rub them the wrong way.
Right.
But you don't want to make a knee-jerk decision either. Just being in the moment, being emotional. I think that's dope.
Right.
How was the conversation with the boys, though?
They didn't like it.
Boys,
they didn't like it.
Had they heard the rumblings too, or did it just hit them out of
left
field?
If they did, they didn't tell me. Mm-hmm. They didn't tell me, but afterwards, some told me that they did. They had heard some rumblings that I might be going over there.
Right.
And of course, they didn't like it. A place that they don't see too highly of, and that's fine. That's how it should be. Yeah. But I mean, that's what it was.
That's what it had to be.
Man, that's what it had to be. And like I said, unfortunately, somebody's gonna get hurt.
Yeah. When you first got the job, how was getting your staff together? Well, how hectic was that? Because from an outsider perspective, I would hear a whole bunch of names in terms of prospects of folks that you may have been interested in, or people that were wanting to basically put their bid in and come over there and be a part of it. So how was that?
Well, I tell you, it was quite different than what I thought, because it wasn't a lot of people, knocking down my door to try to get it on staff.
Oh, wow.
And people understood that they felt like the talent wasn't going to be where it needed to be, and they, a lot of people don't want to be a part of that. They want to come into I don't want to say a ready-made situation, but they don't want to go through. Everybody doesn't want to go through the grind.
Yeah.
And go through
build or rebuild.
Go through the tough years. A lot of people, especially a place like this where, alumni and community can be unforgiving if you're not winning.
Yeah, a little spoiled.
Yeah, they got reason to be spoiled.
True that.
But it took a while to solidify everybody. Mm-hmm. And I ended up with Matt Watson, who was with me at Central, and then Coach Glover stepped down as the girls coach at Central and came with me over here. And then I had Coach Williams. He was a holdover from the previous staff with Coach Phipps. So, and Coach Williams and I mean, we grew up together basically.
Yeah, there you go.
So I've been knowing. He coached me when I was in middle school.
Pre-existing relationship like
that. Yeah,
what?
so it was good there. And then Coach Gill, who's now my JV coach, was a volunteer. So it was nobody that I can tell you was just like, man, I want to be on staff. Man, I want to be on staff. And we had some people that I talked to that just didn't work out, that I had liked to work out, but we just couldn't come together. Mm-hmm. But as far as a plethora of calls, that wasn't the case.
Okay. Well, hey, listen, it sounds like it made your situation probably a little easier.
It did. Yeah. It did.
Now, what about buy-in from the new bunch? All right, you know how we men now, but we've been boys before. So, a lot of times we got to touch that stove. You're coming in, you're new. They probably don't know you. They just came out of an era that was pretty damn good, and here you come.
Yeah.
And was it tough getting them on board all the way?
Yeah, well, no, not real tough. I'll tell you a funny story. We had a meeting. Of course, we couldn't go in the building because of the pandemic.
True that.
So we met on the steps out front of the field house. Mm-hmm. During the meeting, I had a kid say, "What's your win-loss record?"
Oh, just out with it. Didn't warm you up or nothing?
No, just what's your win-loss record? And I'm like, man, I don't know off the top of my head. It was like 170 and 71 or something like that, somewhere around there. Mm. Then the same kid said, "Have you won any championships?" And I, without trying to be the butthole, I was like, "Yeah, I won one in 2015." And he said, "Was it 6A?" I said, "No, it was 4A." And he gave me that look like, "Oh man, that don't count."
Yeah. Downplayed that immediately.
Yeah. And so, but him and I get along real well right now. But I don't think it was a struggle to get buy-in because those kids worked hard, man. I enjoyed that group last year.
Right.
We made the record may not show it, but I really felt like they worked hard last year, and those kids enjoyed being here. They showed up every day. And
I don't think that can be overstated either.
No,
Coach, man. The work sucks when it sucks, and if y'all were getting beat last year, like we were getting beat, so to see the same faces every day, that means something.
It was tough, but we had a lot of our rhythm cut due to the pandemic. Right. I mean, we would play 3 games and miss 4.
Oh,
we only played 11 games last year. out of 23 regular season games. So we played 10 regular season games and 1 playoff game. And
11. That was the grand total.
That was the total. 11. That
Yeah,
was the total for the whole year.
It's hard to get something done under those.
Oh yeah, and so we in late January, early February, we missed the ice storm and quarantine. We missed 4 weeks.
That's a month, man.
And there were some games in there that we thought we could have won, which would have helped the record, but we didn't get to play them.
And it's like, what do you do?
What are you doing? So I don't say that to make any excuse about our year last year, but I always told my kids, don't blame each other, blame me.
Right.
Put it all on me. I got big shoulders. I can take it. Don't put it on each other. When people talk about that year, just blame me. Don't blame my kids. These are kids, so don't blame them. Blame me. I'll take it. As that's usually how it happens anyway. Yeah. When you win, they give the kids the credit. When you lose, it's all on the coach.
Yeah, that's right. Always.
That's the nature of the business, man.
Yeah. Now, are you one? You seem like a relatively humble dude. I ain't gonna sit here and act like we don't talk off the record. But how important is it to you for you to get your credit that is due? Which is segueing me into the fact that this year, in the 2021-22 season, y'all 10-0 right now, undefeated, right?
Yeah.
How's that feel?
I got mixed feelings because I want to go ball.
For sure.
And so in my mind right now, we still ain't done nothing.
True that.
Yeah, the record says we're 10-0, but I'm still looking at the mental mistakes we have in game, and how we're not as crisp as we need to be offensively. The mental lapses on defense. I'm still looking at all that, and my kids want to remind me, Coach, we're 10-0. I'm like, yeah, but we're not dominating like we should be.
True that.
In my mind.
Right.
And so, and then at any point, this can just stop.
Yeah.
This 10-0 can stop. So let's not overlook what we got left, and we can't see the forest through the trees sometimes, and when that happens, you got to keep chopping wood.
Ooh.
You got to keep chopping wood. So
I like that.
I'm trying to keep that mentality with them. We were in here today, and they ran like crazy for a game, and we got 4 games this week. But I got to keep that mental edge on them. Like, hey, no, we're not relaxing because we're 10-0.
Right.
We're gonna come here for 2 hours. We're gonna get it in, and we're gonna work. And I'm gonna push you.
Right.
And I'm gonna correct you just like it was October 1.
Has it been hard to keep their focus or keep their feet on the ground going through this 10-game winning streak that you?
I won't say it's hard, but it's. I'm having to refocus a little bit more because kids, like you say, kids are kids, and they're enjoying all this hype that they're getting. Well, yeah, it's great. It's great to have the hype. I love it for my kids. But let's keep our eye on the prize, which is keep the main thing. Keep the main thing. Surprisingly, that's one of our key mottos, man. Keep the main thing, and we want to. The focus is the focus, and that focus is playing the second week of March.
Right.
But we got to clean up some things in order for us to make that happen.
Right.
And that's what my focus is.
True that. Last basketball question. Tell me about your leaders, your bigger personalities of guys on your team that you've given a lot of responsibility to based on the trust that you have for them.
What's funny is I got a kid, and I hope his parents and him don't, if they see this, don't get. I know the family won't be upset, but they don't like getting praise like that. That's the type of people they are.
True that.
But a kid named Ryan Anderson, man, he's on the roster. His jersey number's 3. He hadn't played a game. Had an ankle injury in football. Hadn't played a single game. Hadn't made but maybe the first practice or second practice after football ended. And we're not 10-0 without him. You say, why, Coach? He ain't playing. He's a culture kid.
Yeah.
He's helping run the scout team. As a coach, he's watching the film, learning the sets, and taking the scout team through stuff like he's a coach. He comes in, he's high energy. He's yelling and screaming and hoorahing and patting guys on the back and high-fiving guys. And
he's not too cool for none of it.
He's not too cool to not be in a uniform, but I'm just going to sit over here and be on my phone. He's up in practice, moving around, talking to people. Hey, man, we can't – I hear him on the bench in the game. That ain't the shot we want right there. We got to move it 1 or 2 more times. Y'all need to cut. I'm like, man, I got another coach right here. He's their peer. And they love him.
It hits different when it's coming from the peer.
So he's in there yelling at who Ryan, good shot, great shot. Everybody else is doing it. And when he comes in, they three, his number's 3. So Ryan is a kid that, I see him and I'm saying he's gonna be super successful because he got that. He wants to do things the right way for everybody around him, not just for himself.
Yeah. Hard to get kids to believe in something bigger than themselves these days.
Man, he challenges kids, and because he's their peer and he's respected, they listen.
See, credibility, that's key.
They listen. And so when he says it, sometimes the old motto, police yourself so we don't have to.
Yeah.
That's him. Mm-hmm. That's him. He'll get on them about stuff, and it's like, I don't even have to say nothing.
You got to love that, though.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Now we're going to take it off the court, Coach, as we come down the home stretch. Tell me about balancing home life and work, man, because I'm a coach, but I don't have a family like you do. So I know about the rigors of one side of it. You got to deal with both every day, and I know it sort of probably feels like you trying to be 2 places at one time a lot of times. Yeah. How do you do it, man?
Man, I still hadn't figured that out. I'm going to be honest with you. My wife will tell you the same thing.
Right.
Shout out to Crystal.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I hadn't figured that one out yet. It's hard. I try to be there for my kids as much as I can.
Right.
I also coach my son's team, and when my daughter was in gymnastics, I tried to be there for every meet and pick up at practice and all of those things. And it's hard. I'm tired when I get home. I'm mentally drained when I get home. Not because it's hard, but because I'm giving everything I got
to everybody.
To everybody. And so at some point, someone's going to get undercut, and unfortunately, and I hate to say it, oftentimes it's my wife, and to her I offer my sincere apologies, but it's something I just hadn't gotten figured out yet. Maybe I need a mentor in that department or something.
Well, I've heard before from some people older and wiser than us both say that it's a constant journey. Like, I don't know if you ever arrive to where it's like, okay, this is the recipe.
Yeah.
It's probably evolving too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I say that, and I tell people who are close to me that coaching is a sport that you don't have your own time.
No.
If you're trying to win and compete and build, you're always doing something. I'm always up watching film late at night and cutting film and, thinking about the game and what can I do to be better. How can I approach this kid about, I need you to take 3 less shots so that your team can get 3 more great shots each quarter. Something like that. I'm always trying to figure out that middle ground with kids. And so it takes a lot of time away from a lot of other things. But when you're trying to win and do things like that and be special, that's the sacrifice you make.
Yeah. And the payoff is going to be ultimate. You know what I mean? I got 2 more things for you, Coach. How do you decompress? Like, what are your hobbies outside of anything sports related? Is there an off switch for you?
Well, outside of sports, I love to play golf.
Okay, well, outside of coaching.
Yeah. I love to play golf.
Right.
I'm also the boys and girls golf coach here as well.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also the boys and girls golf coach here as well. But playing golf, I try. What's crazy? I don't watch a lot of basketball on TV. Because
that's sort of me too. I feel ashamed to admit that, though.
No, I mean, I'm the type of guy where if you don't like it, I don't care. if you want to judge me because I don't watch all the basketball, that's on you, not me. And the reason why I don't is because I'm always around it and I need time away.
There you go.
I watch it, but I'm not a junkie. I need time away from the game in order for me to continue to love the game.
Right.
And that's my way. That's not I'm not saying that's the right way for everybody, but that's my way.
Yeah.
I'd rather go watch a game in person because I can learn a lot more from different things such as patterns of what coaches are saying on the bench and stuff like that, and utilizing timeouts and all that type of stuff. But as far as sitting in front of the TV watching basketball, I don't do a lot of that. Now playoff time, NBA playoffs and the NCAA tournament, and I get down on that. But
come on now.
And I really don't watch a lot of NBA because I don't think it's conducive to high school basketball.
Worlds apart.
Yeah, it's not conducive to high school basketball or youth basketball.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our youth watch that.
It's a different game, and that's why they think 10 dribbles and one-on-one is how you become effective.
Yes,
that's the NBA game. You can still help in high school basketball. You can still help in the NCAA basketball. There's illegal defense in the NBA.
Yeah, defense in 3 seconds.
Yeah, so you can go one-on-one.
Yeah, you got that guy on the island.
Yeah, you can beat James Harden in the NBA. You can't do that in high school ball.
No, they scheming on you.
Not when your team needs you.
That's right.
But yeah, and to finish the answer to the question, I just think that decompressing is something that's beneficial. And I watch a lot of Westerns.
Yeah.
That kind of helps me out. My dad used to watch them, and now I watch them.
Tree, apple.
Yeah, sit outside. I love cigars.
Yeah.
Sit outside in my garage, have a cigar.
Got to.
That's my decompression.
I feel that.
Just being able to sit with friends and have a cigar and chill and talk and laugh and listen to music.
Let the guard down. No pressure.
Yeah. Just vibe out. Just vibe out doing that, man. And I think more of us should have that type of decompression. Not just coaches, but people in general. Mm-hmm. Have that go-to thing where you can forget about the things in life that trouble you,
right.
or that make you that takes you away from home a lot, and you can just decompress and get back at what you need to do afterwards.
Yeah, and to me, I'm pretty sure you felt this too. I feel so refreshed and ready to hit the ground running the next day at work.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It changes the fact that okay, I got something I can go to that's not going to be so heavy on me.
That's right.
And I can chill for a little bit and do something different for a little bit. Do something different, and that's important to me.
Straight up. Here's how we wrap it up, Coach. Now, you and I both we did more losing than what we care to admit last year. So
right.
Let's dig in the crates. Going back to last year, man, a game that you lost that you felt was winnable, and you still feel to this day, we should have won that game. If you could go back and run it back, which one would you pick to go back to from last season?
Man, I got several because we had so many close games. But
right.
I tell you, Union at Union.
Right.
I think it was a 3-point loss.
Mm-hmm.
And then first Owasso game. First game, it was at Owasso.
Okay.
Owasso's so dang good and so well coached, but we still had a chance. We were playing well. We let go of the rope with the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game. Yeah. And the sophomore game, we lost the sophomore last year in the Bartlesville tournament, and we kind of let go of the rope then at that game as well. Those three probably stick out the most.
Yeah. Did you lose some sleep over them, Coach?
Yeah, because had they turned out different, we're 5-5, or 5-4.
Yeah.
So
you're right. That's a big difference.
It's a big difference.
That's 6A for you right there, huh, Coach?
Last year we didn't play a team that was not ranked, or not 6A.
Wow.
They were all 6A and they were all ranked. We played Owasso 3 times last year. Owasso's a juggernaut. And this year's close to the same. Every team we've played has been ranked when we played them, and we've played 2 5A teams, Carl Albert and Sapulpa.
Yeah.
So, and the rest of the way, we have all ranked teams.
There you go.
6A.
So when it's tournament time, y'all gonna be battle tested, ain't you?
Yeah, but you're going against the same teams.
Battle of the backyard.
Man, but it's that's you don't want it any other way.
That's facts. Well, Coach Brown, brother, I appreciate you spending time with me on this
Appreciate
MLK Day, bro. This has been long overdue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wish you well, continued success, man. From one north side to another one, I'm rooting for you.
Absolutely, man. Anything I can do to help you, just let me know.
For sure, man. For sure.